Welcome to another episode, Cryptotalks, powered by Dxtalks Live, episode 179, season 8. Just another amazing time. I think the last week was something very confusing, what's happening in the US and how things are now taking a toll on all of the crypto related companies, especially Binance and Coinbase. But I think we have a good news that the Supreme Court has decided to settle the case of SEC versus Binance a little bit so that they can reach a compromise. So this is at least some good news where last couple of days we were hearing about assets being frozen. So if this is not happening, this is bringing some calmness to the market. But again, this is Gary Gensler.
Ether is one of the most popular digital assets and powers the Ethereum blockchain. Back in 2018, then SEC Corporation Finance Director Bill Hinman stated that he believed Ether was not a security. Last month, CFTC Chair Benham expressed his view that Ether is a commodity. The State Attorney General of New York asserted in a court filing last month that Ether is a security. Clearly, an asset cannot be both a commodity and a security. Do you agree?
Actually, all securities are commodity under the Commodity and Exchange Act. It's that we are excluded commodities. But I would agree that a security cannot be also an excluded commodity and an included commodity. I'm sorry, Chair, just to talk about the Commodity Exchange Act more precisely.
Okay, so do you recognize, how would you categorize Ether then?
Look, I think that the general sweep of what Congress did, not just in the 30s, but as amended.
I'm asking you, sitting in your chair now, to make an assessment under the laws as exist. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
Without speaking to any one.
I know you've repeatedly said you're not going to speak to one, except you've spoken to one, Bitcoin. So I'm asking you to speak to a second one, the second largest market cap here.
And speaking to the tokens, there's 10 to 12,000. If there's a group of entrepreneurs in the
I'm asking
middle,
about one.
The public is anticipating a profit based on the.
I'm asking you a specific question, Chair Gensler. I said this in private. This should be no shock to you. I'm asking this question. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of individuals.
I'm asking you about the facts and the law sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge because I'm also.
But you have prejudged on this. You've taken 50 enforcement actions. We're finding out as we go, as you file suit, as people get Wells notices on what is a security in your view, in your agency's view. I'm asking you a very simple question about the second largest digital asset. What is your view?
And my view is if there's a group of individuals in the middle that the public is anticipating.
All right, so let me just ask a second question then. Do you think it serves the market for an object to be...
So, if he couldn't answer, how could he actually, as a chairman, file lawsuits against any of others? So let's say hi to Tay directly from Italy airport. I'm not sure if you're in Rome or somewhere else.
تحياتي لك رودي. Good afternoon everyone. I'm actually in Bologna in the airport. We're attending the We Made the Future conference hosted by the Italian government. And it's a very important timing to attend such an event because there will be talks on regulation, the use cases of cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and the whole SEC saga that is still unfolding until this moment. As we watched the video for Gary Gensler, I think if he, at that point in time, pointed to Ether being a security or a commodity or neither of, he would have impacted the prices of the market significantly. So on one hand, it's good he didn't basically give such a statement openly and publicly. Yet at the same time, I think the next 2 3 weeks are gonna be very significant for crypto and for regulators specifically, because as we will see in week 24, what are the major news that is shadowing the involvement of SEC, Binance, and Coinbase in a clash to classify cryptocurrencies and to put a title on a few of those cryptos trading in the market, especially one of the top 20s like ADA, like Solana, like Ripple, Bitcoin, Ethereum. That we saw some of them got notices, like ADA, for example, it was classified as a security to the SEC, Solana, Matic as well, Polygon. So let's say what we will see in June 2023 from regulatory perspective will not be like what we saw in the previous ages.
Indeed. Don't forget to subscribe. So welcome again, and here we go. Season 8, Cryptotalks, alerts, and frauds. Make sure you are following the right accounts, especially me and Tay and Flus and Dxtalks. We will post them as we move. If you have been called upon someone who likes to trade in our name or somebody else, technically you should not trust him. Any website that is not the official website, be careful to check the websites. Deepfake is actually activated now, with more and more use cases being deployed against people trying to fish them visually with doing stuff. So they are impersonating a real person in real life online. So always make sure to call that person or to have some relationship outside the online. This week is active also. We have Speech Tech Summit, London FinTech Week is on, Smart Tech in Korea, our partnerships with Metagate for their event in September, Tech Summit also in September, and media with Blockchain Expo in September in Dubai. So here is the news. Tay, before I hand over, let me run on that.
تحياتي مرة جديدة. Welcome everyone. Good afternoon. This is week 24 in 2023. The week, if we want to give it a title, we can call it Under Pressure. Under pressure simply because we're seeing a lot of regulatory pressure coming on cryptocurrencies, specifically from the SEC. Before we start our news, let's see what happened on-chain during the last 7 days, where we saw a lot of investors withdraw their assets at a steady pace. We looked at a total aggregated stablecoin balance down over to $1.6 billion, equivalent to 20.9 of the total Binance balance. So BTC and ETH reserves are even more down to 5.7% and 7.1% respectively. So the news of the SEC and this turf that we're seeing between Coinbase, Binance, and the SEC is putting pressure on exchanges, and we're seeing this on-chain activity where outflows are increasing. The biggest outflows that happened has been on Binance more than on Coinbase, to be honest. Binance stablecoin reserves, they display the largest decline, where they have fallen from $26 billion in November 2022 to $6.5 billion today. Again, from $26 billion in November 2022 till $6.5 billion today, 75% decline in outflow of stable coins at Binance. This is not only because of the latest SEC action, this has been ongoing since the SEC complained against BUSD and the issues that we covered with Paxos in the early episodes of Cryptotalks this year. Noting as well that the Coinbase outflows mostly were Ethereum, because this is what the SEC was pointing at, that Ethereum was running basically unregistered securities by offering those staking services or staking solutions. So to dive in with the news that we saw for this week, we all heard that U.S. Congressman Warren Davidson has officially filed legislation that would restructure the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Most importantly, they want to fire their chair, Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler has been under, I would say, scrutiny for the past years, due not only for crypto-related events, but non-crypto-related actions as well. He is being named a tyrannical chairman, and there are some improvements that the U.S. basically politician or Congressman Warren Davidson wants to see. What are those changes? Sorry. One of the first things that they want to see is to adjust the commission or the SEC to include a sixth commissioner. So while also creating an executive director who oversees the agency day-to-day operations, all rulemaking, enforcement, investigation authority should remain with those commissioners who are subject to staggered 6 years terms. Some of the other things under the SEC Stabilization Act, that a single political party would never hold more than 3 commissioner seats at any given time. Thus, they want to protect in the future that U.S. capital markets, they will not be destabilized because of political agendas. And one of the interesting things as well, that to ensue the stability, they want to also force commissioners to work together prior to approving any significant action under the SEC purview. This would implement a similar structure that is today working at the Federal Election Commission. So those 3 main points would help improve the SEC stand, and most importantly, to protect it from political agendas. Political agendas that today started to play between Bahamas and the United States, especially in the FTX saga. And we call it saga because it is basically a long-term, looks like never-ending series where a lot of new information, a lot of new actions are appearing between every now and then, let's say. So because the FTX boss was arrested in the Bahamas, and because he has been charged with certain actions, and in order not to violate the extradition details, some of the charges against SPF will be dropped. Why? Because any charges that has been indicted on SPF, Sam Bankman-Fried, that led to his extradition to the United States, the United States cannot add on these charges. They have to stick to what the Bahamas government has filed. So basically, according to an agreement, individuals who are extradited can only be tried and punished for crimes that the extraditing country, in this case the Bahamas, has agreed to. So This means that the Bahamian government cannot add additional charges until the whole legal process has been completed. And keep in mind, we're hearing that there will be an FTX 2.0 coming out. I'm not sure how authentic this news is, or how real is it. But worth to note, if we hear, see, or interact with any promise of an FTX 2.0, we should be careful in where we place our funds and who do we interact with. As we said in the beginning of the session, the SEC decision did not only affect exchanges, affected crypto coins as well. Many of those cryptos like ADA, Solana, and Matic, those from the top three of my head, have been they have been basically affected. How they were delisted from certain exchanges, like Robinhood, for example, has delisted most of the tokens that the SEC has enforced charges on, and we are seeing a lot of exchanges as well following this suit. Final news for today from AWS and what happened in east of United States when Amazon cloud services went down, and they took down with it basically a few of services like Associated Press was not able to continue to release blogs and release news, but Ethereum network was basically untouched. Now, why this is important? Because most of the Ethereum network today is relying on cloud services to operate its nodes. Specifically, we're talking about as well Lido. Lido is one of the largest Ethereum staking pools out there. It's a centralized service. It heavily relates to AWS and heavily relies on AWS to run its nodes. So the fact that AWS went down in the east of United States, luckily it did not affect Europe dramatically as people were anticipating. It was a 15-minute window, not more than that, but 15-minute window in crypto is a lot of time. So Twitter was there was like a little bit of tit and tat between the Bitcoin maxis and between Ethereum. Bitcoin maxis saying, yeah, basically the nodes or the AWSs of Bitcoin are the miners, and that's why they will never go down. While today Ether is more centralized, with Lido staking taking the lead in offering those staking services to keep the network running. With this, Rudy, it's a short week in crypto. The focus of this week was regulation mainly, and it just started, I believe, with Gary Gensler or without Gary Gensler. The coming days in the regulatory space of crypto are going to be very tough, especially for privacy coins, for service providers who offer staking pools, staking services, and who are running, basically holding money of their clients. This is going to be a total new paradigm shift in how do we view cryptocurrencies and how do we regulate them. Talking about regulation is major milestone, because in Arabic we say هيدا اعتراف. This is a confession that the government, whether it's United States government or any government around the world, is basically acknowledging that this is a technology, it's here to stay, and we need to do something about it to contain it, or else it will go out of hand. Back to you, Rudy.
Thank you, Tay, and thank you, our viewers. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe to our channel. I think the star of the last 2 weeks and this episode is always Mr. Gary Gensler himself. Such, similar to those nice comments. Gary is bad. He'll be sacked soon. I think we have a question from, or a comment. The network continued normal.
Yeah,
No?
normal. No, the network was never affected. It continued normal. Just one thing, Rudy, as well. From, I think, the day that we started together Crypto Talks, we always pointed to the importance of the SEC and Gary Gensler, specifically in taking this direction of cryptocurrencies in the future, direction of regulation, compliance, growth, attracting talent, attracting capital. Um, he is not, I don't think he's a bad person. He has a lot of responsibilities on his head, on his table, on his shoulders. It is just the thin line of personal, you know, agendas mixing with political agendas, mixing with the crypto agenda, is shining a new light on the importance of regulating cryptocurrencies. The fact that he is, whether it's a fact or non a fact, applying for an advisory role at Binance and later turning the tables on them, the role he played with FTX, and later it backfired on all the community members. We still don't know what has been spoken of in closed rooms on how to regulate crypto and how to regulate uh, basically not only Ethereum, all the 12,000 tokens that run today in the market. He needs to give a clear answer. He needs to give a clear direction. And this is what the Congress today is looking at. Not only his performance, but they're looking for answers. If it's not Gary Gensler, someone else must answer this question. Is Ethereum a security, yes or no? Is Bitcoin a security, yes or no?
And
Can
once and for all, that's what we need, a
exactly
clearance.
exactly. So whether it's him or someone else, في حدا بده يجيب هذا الجواب. It's not Crypto Talks, although we were pointing to this important piece of information since a year and a half, and that's why we always mention Gary Gensler in our episodes and talks, because we saw this happen in 2018, 2017, 2016, when MTGOX went down, when Bitfinex was hacked, when a lot of big events happened, and Gary Gensler and the SEC stepped in to weigh their opinions and weigh their views. So it's happening now again. The only difference is today the bad apple is in the United States. FTX is a US company, backed by US investors, backed by US politicians, where
Coinbase.
crypto money was involved in all this commission that we're seeing. Coinbase being as well an American company. The media portraying CZ as a Chinese national. And it's always in the news. If you read the US news, they always refer to CZ as the Chinese Canadian born national or the Chinese Canadian national. So there is a بين السطور, between the lines, we're reading, okay, there is some political influence as well here.
Indeed. Thank you, Tay. I'm not gonna keep you more than this. Good luck on your trip. Thank you for being with us today, and we'll talk soon. And then I'll be talking to you later.
Yeah.
I need some information.
Thank you, Rudy. Thank you, everyone. Please keep your heads cool. Read well the news. Follow up on the SEC happenings. A personal note: this is not an investment advice, or many people are afraid. They don't know what they want to do. They're withdrawing their coins out of exchanges, which is something good. Please back up your non-custodial wallets. If you're using a Trust wallet, non-custodial wallet, if you're using Ledger, non-custodial wallet, any non-custodial wallet that you are using to move your funds away from an exchange into your wallet, back up your keys always. Make sure you have the right backup. All exchanges are the same, whether it's Gate, Mexi, Binance, Coinbase, any of them, CoinMe, Rain, they're all centralized. They all have the risk of facing what Binance is facing today. So the best way to store your crypto is your own wallet, not your keys, not your coins, as we say usually. And one final note, Binance with its head CZ, Coinbase with its head Brian Armstrong, both of them, they're fighting a war on behalf of all crypto people. So we should as well support them, not spread the FUD. And especially Binance is, I think, one of the largest exchanges out there with the biggest reserves out there. And they are fighting this war on our behalf as well. So God be with them, God be with us, and hopefully we'll see some flexible, open regulation that will bring back the golden age of crypto. Next year is the halving of Bitcoin. August is the halving of Litecoin, a kind reminder as well. And I'll see you next week.
Great. Thank you, Tay, and good luck. So, not your keys, not your coins. This is very important. And if you need to move them to Ledger, it's not something easy, or any other custodial wallet. It's not something sometimes is easy. So be careful in the process and make sure that the product is not compromised. So with that, we'll wait a couple of seconds if there's no questions. And I will tell you not to forget to subscribe. Join us at Cryptotalks YouTube channel and our social media. And for that, I'll wish you a great week.